Brok Shabbat Yom, brothers and sisters, Hebrews in Jamaica, the Caribbeans due west, to the four corners of the earth scattered greetings. This Shabbat lesson we're going to title Looking at Daniy'El 7, the beast metaphor. Looking at Daniy'El 7, the beast metaphor, brothers and sisters. So, we're going to go to the scriptures. Okay, brothers, it's on the screen, Daniy'El 7, right, we're going to take it all the way to the end. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniy'El had a dream and a vision of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told some of the matters. Daniy'El spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heavens strove upon the great sea, and the four great beasts came upon from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, the 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. So we know 10 horns, or horns, represent power. So these are heads of government, or heads of state, or countries. You see, brothers and sisters. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. So great things mean blasphemy, right? And the little horn is the horn that's going to rule the 10 horns. You see, and the little horn we know is the Vatican, the smallest country on earth, the smallest army on earth. And that small country ruled the earth as far as religion and within politics. Because most of these politicians today are Catholics, back then and now. We know the head of the Catholic is Francis, right? The fake vicar, who embodied the spirit of the Antichrist, you see, brothers and sisters. Right, so verse 9, I beheld till the throne were cast down, and the Ancient of Days. So we know the Ancient of Days is Yahusha. He has no beginning, and he has no end. Yahushua Mashiach. He is also that figure in the scripture that talk about Melchizedek. That was Yahusha also, brothers and sisters. He has no beginning, he has no end. He assumed a beginning and he assumed an end when he took the flesh and came, suffered, died, buried, and rose from the dead on the third day for Israel, Yashara'el. You understand, brothers and sisters? So he assumed that beginning by his own will, and he assumed the end by his own will. And he gave up himself by his own will, by the will of the Father. You see, brothers and sisters. So verse 9, I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool. Again, pure wool. Who on earth are what type of people, or what kind of people who represent woolly hair on this earth, brothers and sisters? So-called black people. We're the only nation, the only people, yes, a nation, because, you know, we are a nation unto ourselves, within a nation. Well, if you understand what I'm saying, brothers and sisters, we are a nation unto ourselves, but because of our forefathers' disobedience and our continued disobedience, why we are in mental, spiritual, and at one point physical chattel slavery. You see, brothers and sisters. So we are the one that has the woolly hair. You see, that's why you think they invent shear, a thing called shear, to cut people hair. It was meant for us. Just like how they use the shear and shear the sheep wool off the ear of the skin of the sheep. Yeah, shearing is the same thing. The same mechanism, the same tool they use to cut hair. I notice when you cut the hair of the black man, it roll up just like how it rolls up when you shear the wool off the sheep's skin. You understand? I beheld the throne were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fire flaming, and his wheels as burning fire. I beheld till the throne were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. Verse 10, a fiery stream issued and came forth from before him, 1,000 ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10. So you see, brothers and sisters, the Most High don't need your worship towards him, because he already have his own congregation, ministers, the messengers, the angels. You know what I mean? But in order for you to make it in the afterlife, you understand, the Most High give his own people his laws, commandments, and statutes. So the other nation don't have to worship him. They could do whatever they want to do. But we were meant to be the light of the world. But because of our forefathers' disobedience, we became the tail and not the head. But that's going to change soon, brothers and sisters. Soon and very soon. Like the song said, soon and very soon we shall go to meet the King. Verse 10, a fiery stream issued and came forth from before him, 1,000 ministered, right? 1,000 ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were open. I beheld, and because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, so we know the horn means power. Horn represents power, strength. Verse 11, I beheld, then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, and beheld, even all the beasts was slain, and his body destroyed, and given to the burning flame. Right, verse 12, as concerned the rest of the beasts, they had their dominions taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time. So season, brothers and sisters, right? Season is each of the 4 divisions of the year: spring, summer, autumn, and winter, marked by a particular weather pattern. You see, brothers and sisters, so season basically is a year divided by 4. Spring, summer, autumn, and winter make up season. You see, brothers and sisters, right? Season. And we know time is appointment. You know what I mean? Time in his appointment, meaning could be in the future, could be now, could be present. You see, brothers and sisters, season and time. You see. Verse 13. I saw in the night vision, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. Oh, verse 13 is talking about the Son of Man. The Son of Man is Yahusha, right? The Son of Man is Yahusha, and he came with the clouds. So the clouds mean majesty and glory. Yes, I mean, brothers and sisters. So I saw in the night vision, and behold, one like the Son of Man, who is Yahusha, came with the clouds of heaven, majesty, and came to the Ancient of Days. So the Ancient of Days is his father, right? His father is Yahuwah Tzivahot, right? It's the same thing in verse 9 when Daniy'El recalled, I beheld till the thrones were cast down and the Ancient of Days did sit, right? So the Ancient of Days is Yahuwah. You understand, brothers and sisters? Whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. So Daniy'El describing Yahuwah, also describing his son Yahusha. In verse 13, he saw the Son of Man came with the clouds. So we know the Son of Man is Yahusha, and the Ancient of Days represents the Father who has no days, who has no beginning, who has no end, like his Son. You see, verse 14, and there was given him dominion and glory and kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. I, Daniy'El, 15, I, Daniy'El, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the vision of my head troubled me. 16, I came near unto one of them that stood by, and I asked him the truth of all this. So he told me and made me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are four kings which shall arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. 19. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceedingly dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devour, break in pieces, and stamp the residue with his feet. So we know this vision right here in verse 19 is talk about the Roman Empire. You understand? Forged out of iron, ancient Rome, and into this day, modern Rome. If you look around the country that you live in, the States, United States, and so forth, you see replicas of the Roman building, Roman architecture, Roman style. You could see that present in all European countries. You see, brothers and sisters. Right? Verse 20. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. 21. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom, brothers and sisters. Verse 23, thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break in pieces. So the diverseness is talking about multi-religion, multi-belief, incorporated into one religion. You see that happening right now with the Catholic. You understand? The Catholic, the Pope is the head of all dominion, right? All denomination on earth, as far as religious aspect, even stretch his tentacles into politics. You see, brothers and sisters, you see it right now. You see all these religions coming together, worshiping the same pagan god. Muslim, Buddhism, you know what I mean, Christianity, Judaism, all these ism and schism, brothers, is all under one umbrella right now. It's getting closer and closer to that one world religion, one world order. You see, and many of my people are caught up into that foolishness, branches, so they won't leave religion alone. You understand? They won't come back to the Most High pure words and His commandments, and that's sad. You see, brothers and sisters, it is very, very sad. Right, so verse 24, and the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings, and he shall speak great words. So the great words is blasphemy, wickedness against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. So you see right there, think to change times and laws. This is talking about, this is dealing with the commandments, and this is how you know verse 25 is talking about religious entities. Who on earth decide to change laws and times? What commandment that the Most High have in place that deal with times? Can anyone guess? It is talking about all dealing with the Shabbat. The Shabbat deals with time. You understand? Sundown to sundown. Saturday. The 7th day of the week. Laws and times, brothers and sisters. And they did change it in their feeble mind. Right, but the Most High law still is written. The Shabbat is the Shabbat, the 7th day. Sunday is the first day. You understand? But because we are unlearned, we don't have the desire to seek and search out the matter, the hidden mystery that the Most High hid for His glory, that you may seek it out. You will not search out the matter to find the truth for yourself and to keep the commandments according to the King's word. So you sit there and you follow religion, you follow this wicked pastor pork chop who run around here with the title reverend, which only should be allotted to Yahuwah, the Holy Son Yahusha. There's not reverend with these pastor pork chop today. They are hustlers. They raise hustlers and they're religious hustlers. And you love to have it so because you refuse to come back to yourself and to acknowledge who you are as a Hebrew of the royal house of Israel. You see. So 25, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand. So the laws and time they change from Saturday to Sunday. So the wicked Shabbat is Sunday. You see, you notice that everything they do on Saturday, but when Sunday comes, everything shut down because that's their day. They worship their idol. That's the day they worship the creation, which is the sun. So you have 3 major religions. You see, brothers and sisters, 3 major religions, and all of them has their symbols. Christianity is Sunday, sun god, the sun. Islam, the moon, the crescent, the half moon with the star. And Judaism is the star rampant with the 6-pointed star, brothers and sisters. You see, and every other religion fall underneath it with their own religion. I mean, yes, with their own religion and their own symbolism. You see, brothers and sisters, pagan ritual, pagan identity, creation worshippers. You see, brothers and sisters. And they shall be given into the hand until a time and times and the dividing of times, brothers and sisters. You see, so you're looking at a couple of years there, right? But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and to destroy it unto the end. Verse 27, and the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. Hitherto is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniy'El, my cogitations much troubled me, and my countenance changed in me, but I kept the matter in my heart. This is how terrifying it is when Daniy'El got that vision that the Most High placed upon his heart to write down for us to see in this modern time, you see. So, brothers and sisters, Daniy'El 7 gives us a panorama of the history of the world from Eliyahu's perspective. Webster says that the word panorama is a picture exhibited apart at a time by being unrolled before the spectator, and unobstructed or complete view in every direction, hence a comprehensive presentation of a subject, a mental picture of a series of scenes of events. Panorama is derived from pan, right? Panorama is derived from the word pan, means all, plus haroma, which means to see or to be seen, right? That which is seen. So panorama derived from the word pan, which means all, and harama, that which is seen. So you put together all that which is seen. That's what the word panorama means, right? Panorama means all that which is seen. In the first year, this flashback was approximately 14 years before the fatal feast of Belshazzar in 539 BC. This vision request represents the first of 4 visions Eliyahu gives to Daniy'El. So in vision 1, Daniy'El 7:1, the first year of King Belshazzar, 553 BC, Daniy'El was 67 years old. Vision 2, Daniy'El 8:1, third year of King Belshazzar, 551 BC, Daniy'El was 69 years old. In vision 3, Daniy'El 9:2-23, first year of Darius the Mede, 538 to 539 BC, Daniy'El was 81 years old. Vision 4, Daniy'El 10:1, third year of Cyrus the Persian, 535 to 536 BC, Daniy'El was 86 years old, brothers and sisters, right? Note, brothers and sisters, note that Daniy'El 7, like Daniy'El 2, reveals the prophetic course of the Gentile dominion on the earth, the time of the Gentiles, Luke 21:24, which explain in part why it is written in Aramaic, the international language, lingua franca of Daniel's day. Daniy'El returns to the Hebrew language beginning in Daniy'El 8:1, continuing through Daniel's 12 and 13, primarily because these last 3 visions give very specific details regarding Eliyahu's plans for the refining and restoration of the nation of Israel. This is a serious hermeneutical mistake to replace Israel with the church. Let me repeat, it is a serious hermeneutical mistake to replace Israel with the church. For then the Israel-centric chapter Daniel 8:12 cannot be accurately interpreted. This is why I said, religion destroyed the mindset of our people. It really does, because they misinterpret the words of the Most High, take it out of context and don't put it in the proper context, and they sit and follow these pastor pork chop who feed off their own flesh and the flesh of their congregants. They are spiritual cannibals, brothers and sisters. Right, let me go over this again. Note, the Daniy'El 7, like Daniy'El 2, reveals the prophetic course of Gentile dominion on the earth, the times of the Gentile in Luke 21:24, which explains in part why it is written in Aramaic, the international language, lingua franca of Daniel's day. Daniy'El returns to the Hebrew language beginning in Daniy'El 8:1 and continue through Daniy'El 12 and 30, primarily because these last 3 visions give very specific details regarding our plans for the refining and restoration of the nation of Israel. These plans is for the refining and restoration of the nation of Israel. It is a serious hermeneutical mistake to replace Israel with the church. It is a serious hermeneutical mistake to replace Israel with the church. It is a serious hermeneutical mistake, brothers and sisters, to replace Yisrael with the church. For then the Israel-centric chapters, Daniel 8-12, cannot be accurately interpreted, brothers and sisters. J.F. Welvord, right? J.F. Welvord rightly remarks that chapter 7 is a highly point in Revelation in the book of Daniel, and in some sense the material before as well as the material which follows pivots upon the detailed revelation of this chapter. So determine to diligently rightly divide Daniel, right? Determine to diligently rightly divide Daniel 7 and to live in the light of this truth, and his spirit will bring the calm of eternity into your heart now, as summarized above. Beginning in Daniel 7 and to the end of the book, we come face to face with this great prophetic apocalyptic vision. Remember that the word apocalypse is from the Greek verb apokalypto, word study. Simply mean word study, which literally means to remove the cover from, and thus it means to remove that which conceals something in the context of Daniel 7 and 12. Apocalyptic vision. Remember that the word apocalypse is from the Greek verb apokalypto, word study, which literally means to remove the cover from, and thus it means to remove that which conceals something in the context of Daniel 7 to 12. The idea is that spiritual truth that was herefore hidden now has the lid removed. That's basically what it means. The Most High removing the veil from his hidden word so that we can see clear to the Ruach HaKodesh, so that it can be seen and understood by all who had eyes to see and ears to hear what the Spirit is saying. And when we understand and believe these truths, we will be transformed to live in the light of them. In short, to live in the light of Eliyahu's plans for the ages. Hence the truth shall set you free. You will be free indeed in Yahusha, for we are keeping his commandments and his laws and statutes. Remember that which a person believes always determines how he or she behaves. That is why when you see these people walking around in their denomination, you ask them who they are, they say, I'm a Christian, I'm a Islam, I'm a Muslim, I'm this, that's they represent their denomination. They're not representing Yah. They're not representing Yahusha and his people and his commandment. They're representing their denomination. That's why they act and behave the way they do. Every chance they get, they call the idol gods and try to impart it on you. And it's sad that, it's sad, brothers and sisters, so-called black people who can trace themselves back to slavery, their ancestors back to slavery, and they could see that none of their ancestors, when they came over here on the ships, practiced no form of religion. But down and down the time and down the rabbit hole through centuries and decades, that was forced upon us through ignorance of our own people and our forefathers and our parents, and we're still getting judgment for that very same thing when the Most High tell us do not worship idols and put any false image or any god before him, and we still do it in the form of religion. That is why we continue to get the judgment. Many are called, few are chosen. You understand? Only a remnant of us will be saved within Israel, and that is sad. And that remnant going to represent all of Israel who are going to be saved. You see, brothers and sisters. So I want to put that out there so you can get understanding thereof. Beloved, we have the prophetic word made more sure, to which do well to pay. Beloved, we have the prophetic word made more sure, to which we do well to pay attention, as to a lamp shining in a dark place until the day dawns and the morning star rises in our hearts. Right? You can see that note in 2nd Kaifer Shinai 1:19. May we all make those daily choices to live in the light of Eliyahu, eternal truth, in the light of his glorious, victorious plan for the ages. Amen. So he asks the question, brothers, why is Daniel 7 so important? In our word, Daniel 7 gives us Eliyahu's blueprint for biblical prophecy. When you get a good hold on Daniel 7, the truth of Daniel 7 will hold you when everything in the world seems to be falling apart. You can remain confident that because of Eliyahu's sovereignty over kings and kingdoms in the past, the present is not falling apart. but in fact is coming together for the consummation of the ages of capstone, even being the second coming of the King, Mashiach Yahusha. Right? So learn the skeleton truth per se of Daniy'El 7, and you will be able to put meat on the bones for all other Bible prophecies of the end times fit into the framework of Daniy'El 7. Eliyahu's heart is for his children, his sons, bond servants, to know his secret counsel, as emphasized by the following passages. Because see, Amos 3:7 wrote, surely Eliyahu does nothing unless he reveals his secret counsel to his servants, the prophets, brothers and sisters. You can see that in Amos 7. W. Nichols added, the secret of Yahuwah is for those who fear him, and he will make them known his covenant. Right? Note what one who fears him will choose to do. My eyes are continuing towards Eliyahu, for he will pluck my feet out of the net. Beloved, snares and traps are thrown out for us every day in manifold ways, but looking to our Yahuwah will ensure that we are like spiritual Boy Scouts whose motto is be prepared. Tehillim 25:14, brothers and sisters. Sacred counsel and sacred are the same Hebrew word sod, right? Which conveys a primary meaning of confidential speech. Arabic sawad, make or speak secretly, as when one in a group of intimates shares confidential matters. Know these other uses of this wonderful Hebrew word in bold, in intimate, which the upright, sweet fellowship, the company of the upright, the friendship of Eliyahu. C.A. Spurgeon on Tehillim 25:14, the secret of Yahuwah is with them that fear him. Hence the fear of Yahuwah is the what? The beginning of what, brothers and sisters? Wisdom. C.A. Spurgeon on Tehillim 25:14, the secret of Yahuwah is with them that fear him. Some read it, the friendship it signifies familiar intercourse, confidential intimacy, and select fellowship. This is a great sacred. Carnal mind cannot guess what is intended by it, and even believers cannot explain it in words, for it must be felt to be known. The higher spiritual life is unnecessarily a path which the eagle's eyes had not known, and which the lion's whelp has not traveled. Neither natural wisdom nor strength can force a door into this inner chamber. Saints have the keys of heaven. Hieroglyphics then can unriddle celestial enigmas. They are initiated into the fellowship of the skies. They have heard words which it is not possible for them to repeat to their fellows, brothers and sisters. Okay, brothers and sisters, we're going to look at the chronicles of Daniel's 4 great prophecy. Daniy'El 7:1, 5-year Belshazzar, 553 BC. Daniy'El 8:1, 3rd year of the reign of Belshazzar, 551 BC. Daniy'El 9:1, 21-23, 1st year of Darius, son of Ahasuerus, 539 BC. Daniy'El 10:1, 3rd year of Cyrus, king of Persia, 536 BC. Nebuchadnezzar died in 562 BC. We last read about him in Daniy'El 4, 9 years before Belshazzar began to reign. We read about him in Daniy'El 5. So that the vision of Daniy'El 7 was given to Daniel between chapters 4 and 5. From the table, it is clear that Daniy'El 8 and 1 also occur between chapters 4 and 5. The vision of Daniy'El 9 and 1 and Daniy'El 10 and 1 are related to Daniy'El 6 and the inception of the Medo-Persian kingdom. Although King Belshazzar seems to have paid little attention to the great prophetic Daniy'El 10:5, Daniy'El 5 and 10, 11, 12, 13, 16, notes Eliyahu clearly had not forgotten his highly esteemed servant Daniy'El 9, 23, 10, 11, and 19, and chose to reveal him to the most incredible prophecies in all the word of Eliyahu during his time out of the limelight. It is notable that all of these visions were given when Daniy'el was in the latter years of his life, from about 68 years to about 85 years, emphasizing that retirement, even Belshazzar's shelving of Daniy'el, was not on Eliyahu's agenda for his chosen vessel, nor is it on his agenda for any of his esteemed bondservants. So let us all take Paul's charge to heart and redeem the time. Ephesians 5 and 16. Daniy'el saw dream and vision. Dream equals singular, vision plural, several stages. Daniy'el was given the ability to understand all kinds of vision and dreams, which is interesting because he didn't understand these visions. Daniy'el 7 and 16. Right? Okay, brothers, let's touch on the animalistic analogy. Right? Animalistic analogy. 4 great beasts. We learn in Daniy'el 7 and 17 that the great beasts are 4 kings who will arise. Naturally, kings speak of kingdoms, and thus the vision is of 4 great kingdoms. Right? Daniy'el 7 and 23-24. Instead of king, we read the 4 beasts represent a kingdom, which are pictured as ferocious wild beasts. These world empires are human in origin and vicious in character. This metaphor undoubtedly conveys several truths. Right? This metaphor undoubtedly conveys several truths, including the eagerness of these kingdoms to gratify their own appetites, even at the expense of the inflicting harm on other men. As indicated in the table below, Daniy'el 2 is man's perspective of the world's empire, man's view of the world history. Daniy'el 7 is Eliyahu's perspective, Eliyahu's view of world history. Eliyahu sees the same kingdom which appears glorious and powerful in Daniy'el 2. Men's esteem of his accomplishment, right? In Genesis 11 and 4, 5, 6, and 7, where Eliyahu is not impressed, for from his perspective they are beastly, not beautiful, beasts filled with self-glory, not Eliyahu's glory. Tehillim 49 and 12. This line of thinking reminds us of Yahushua's word in Luke 16 and 15, that which is highly esteemed among men is detestable in the sight of Eliyahu. Brothers and sisters? So one cannot avoid a comparison with the 4 metals of Nebuchadnezzar's statue in Daniy'el's 2, gold, silver, bronze, and iron. The resemblance to Daniy'el's 2 leaves little doubt that these 4 beastly kingdoms correlate with the 4 metallic kingdoms of Daniy'el number 4, and later the number 10. Coming up from the sea, Daniy'el 7:17 says, these beasts arise from the earth, which supports the premise that the Great Sea is a symbolic reference to the nations of earth arising, as it were, out of the chaotic sea of peoples and nations. Different from one another, 4 distinct beasts. Kayla summarized the issues involved in chapter 7. There yet remains for our consideration the question, what are the historical world kingdoms which are represented by Nebuchadnezzar's image in Daniy'el 2 and by Daniel's vision and of 4 beasts rising up out of the sea? Almost interpreters understand that these 2 visions are to be interpreted in the same way. The 4 kingdoms of dynasties, which are symbolized in Daniy'el 2 by the different parts of the human image, from the head to the feet, are the same as those which were symbolized by the 4 great beasts rising up out of the sea. These 4 kingdoms, according to the interpretation commonly revealed in church, are the Babylonian, Medo-Persian, the Macedon-Grecian, and the Roman. In this interpretation and opinion, Luther observes all the world are agreed. and history and fact abundantly establish it. This opinion prevailed till about the end of the last century, for the contrary opinion of individual earlier interpreters had found no favor. But from that time, when faith in the supernatural origin and character of the biblical prophecy was shaken by deism and rationalism, then as a consequence, with the rejection of genuineness of the book of Daniel, the reference of the fourth kingdom to the Roman world monarchy was also denied. So how can we be sure these two chapters are referring to the same entities, Daniel 2 and Daniel 7? From Daniel 2, we know with the certainty the identity of the head of gold, Babylon, when compared to the first beast in Daniel 2. There is little disagreement even among liberals that the winged lion represents Babylon. In short, both prophecies begin with a description of the empire of Babylon. The next three subdivision of the statue and the next three beasts are not specifically identified, but when we compare the last kingdom described in both Daniel 2 and Daniel 7, it is clear that this is the same kingdom, forever and everlasting. And with minimal detective work, the stone in Daniel 2 is obviously the sun in Daniel 7. Therefore, the three middle subdivisions of each prophecy must also equate with each other. Eliyahu is not an Eliyahu of confusion, but of peace. Shinai Corinthians 14:33, and he desires for his children to know his plan for the ages, not so much that we might be smarter sinners, but that we would be strongly motivated to live for eternal rather than the temporal, and continually grow in grace and knowledge of our Daniy'El and Savior Yahushua Mashiach. Right? Shinai Kaifer, Peter 3:18, during our short tenure on planet Earth. You see. James 1:10, James 4:14, Job 14:2, Tehillim 37:2, Tehillim 90:4, 5 and 6, and 12, Tehillim 102:3, and 11, Tehillim 103:15, Isaiah 40:6, Isaiah 40:6, 1 Peter, Shinai Kaifer 1:24. It is your study of prophecy causing you to grow smarter, or more likely the Savior, or more like the Savior. It is your study to prophesy. It's your study of prophecy causing you to grow smarter, or more like the Savior. If the former, then you need to confess. If the former, then you need to confess and repent and seek Yahuwah and his strength. Seek his face continually. Tehillim 105:4. He will grant you grace to grow in the Mashiach likeness, for ultimately he received the glory for this supernatural result in your life. Beast 1, Winged Lion Babylon. Right, 626 to 539 BC. Like a lion, what is the significance? One must be careful to not let an active imagination replace accurate interpretation. To be sure, the lion is the king of beasts. Thus it would appear that this king would correspond very well with Nebuchadnezzar, the king of kings, Daniel 2:37, the one whom Eliyahu caused to rule over all the sons of men and beasts. The field, Daniel 2:38, in somewhat of a parallel, even as gold is the most precious metal, so the lion is recognized as the king among beasts. As an aside, pictures of lions have been identified as frequent images in the Babylonian ruins, which is probably more than a coincidence. Jeremiah 4:7 refers to Nebuchadnezzar as a lion from the thickets of Jordan. The following passages also refer to Babylon: Jeremiah 4:13, Jeremiah 48:40, 50 and 44. Extra biblical sources state that winged lions were on either side of the gates of the royal palaces of the Babylonians. In Ezekiel 17 and 3 and 12, a great eagle symbolized Babylon, wing of an eagle. An eagle here, the metaphor becomes somewhat bizarre, for lions do not have wings. A lion with wings of an eagle would have seen a fitting symbol of Babylon, which was swift in its conquest of other people. Jeremiah 49:22, Lamentation 4 and 19, 4:9, Ezekiel 17 and 3, Habakkuk 1:6 and 9. Wings are plucked. Whatever else this meant means it clearly pictures a significant alteration in the character of the beastly kingdom of Babylon. While not everyone agrees, given the fact that the beast represents a king, Daniel 7:17, it is reasonable to identify this plucking of the beast with the humbling of King Nebuchadnezzar described in Daniel 4. It was lifted up from the ground. Daniel 4:15 and 23 describes a tree chopped down with its roots in the ground, which Daniel interpreted as Nebuchadnezzar, who was humbled and made to eat grass like cattle, which implies he was on all fours on the ground. Daniel 4:32 and 33, at the end of Daniel's 7 periods of time, 7 years, the king lifted his eyes towards heaven and his reason returned. Daniel 4 and 34, at which time he began to walk on 2 feet rather than on all 4 like a beast. Right, see Daniel 4:36, where we see the kingdom was restored and reestablished, which would be very compatible with Eliyahu lifting up the king to his former place of sovereignty and power. A human mind, man's heart, also was given to it. Daniel 4:34 says, my reason returned to me. History recalls that in the latter years of Nebuchadnezzar's reign, which biblically would be after he had been humbled by Eliyahu, he and his kingdom ceased conquering other peoples and became more humane, less bestial in their treatment of their subjects. Right? So in short, Brown says that the usual description in Daniel 7 and 4 would reasonably be associated with the episode of humiliation in King Nebuchadnezzar's life. Nebuchadnezzar added that at that time in my reason returned to me, and my majesty and splendor were restored to me for the glory of my kingdom, and my counselors and my nobles began seeking me out, so I was reestablished in my sovereignty, and surpassing greatness was added to me. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise, exalt, honor the King of heaven, for all his works are true and his ways just, and he is able to humble those who walk in pride. Daniel 4:36 and 37. Beast 2, bear, Medes and Persian, 539 to 331 BC. Another beast, a second one. He numbers this one, resembling a bear, corresponds to the breasts and arms of silver in Daniel 2:32 and 2 to 32 note, and most conservative commentaries identify this as the Medo-Persian Empire. For the completeness, it should be noted that liberal interpreters separate the Medo-Persian Empire and identify the bear as Media, but the historical facts do not support the liberal interpretation of the bear as a single kingdom. More importantly, the biblical record states that the kingdom that defeated Babylon was a combination of the Medes and the Persians. Daniel 5:28, 6 and 8, 12 and 15, effectively negating the liberal gibberish, brothers and sisters. A bear, although slower than a lion, is also a ferocious beast, which was exemplified in the Medo-Persian style of war. See Isaiah 13 and 17 and 18. They will not even have compassion on the fruit of the womb, nor will their eye pity children. The greater size of the bear may also be related to the larger armies fielded by the Medo-Persians, which allowed them to overwhelm their enemies with sheer numbers. rise up on one side. The scripture does not answer this dogmatically. However, in Daniel 6 and 8 we see the Medes mentioned first, whereas in Esther 1 and 19 we see the Persians mentioned before the Medes. They were never equal power, and one always dominated the other. Given the power and influence of the Persian Cyrus the Great, it is not surprising that some communicators interpret the bear's posture as indicative of Persian dominance over the Medes. You see, brother and sister. 3 ribs. Ribs picture the remnants of a meal which has been devoured. This picture mostly probably speaks of the nation conquered by the Medes and Persians, which were historically Lydia 546 BC, Babylon 539 BC, and Mizraim, Egypt 525 BC. They said to it, said can convey the sense of giving orders used in Daniel 2 and 5. The verb is masculine plural in the third person plural. Who is they? Not sure. In the 4 winds are spirits or angels who are often messengers, although there is a specific word for that function. That is a possibility. Ultimately, it must be a decree from heaven, from Eliyahu. Again, we see the implication of Eliyahu's sovereignty over kings and kingdoms. Arise, devour much meat. The bear-like kingdom is issued 2 commands while the speaker is not stated. We know that Eliyahu is in some way behind the stirring up of these Gentile kingdoms. The Medo-Persian Empire seems to have obeyed the commands to arise and devour, for they extended their conquest, devoured much meat until their borders reached from the Indus River on the east to Egypt and the Aegean Sea on the west, which constituted more territory under the control of the Medo-Persian Empire than any empire had conquered to date. The beast and leopard, Greece, from 331 to 63 BC, brothers and sisters. After this would imply that next is in sequence after the bear kingdom would be the leopard kingdom. Historically, the Grecian Empire followed the Medo-Persian Empire and corresponds to the belly and the thighs of bronze. Daniel 2, 32 and 39, Daniel 8 and 8, 21. I kept looking, and behold, the picture is that of an intense gaze accompanied by a degree of amazement. Remember that Daniel is seeing this vision about 553 BC, some 200 years before the Greeks would rise to power. Think about that. This is how the Most High worked. He knows the beginning from the end from the beginning. He is time. He created time, bro. So he live outside of time. Another one. He does not number this beast, but in sequence it is the third beast, and thus the third kingdom. The third kingdom, Daniel 7 and 17, like a leopard, which characterize this beast besides the fact that it is a carnivore. The leopard is known for its speed. For example, the horses of the Babylonians were said to be swifter than leopards, right? Habakkuk 1 and 8. Another characteristic of leopards is that they would lie in wait so as to surprise their prey. Jeremiah 5 and 6 and Hosea 13 and 7. 4 wings of a bird. Nebuchadnezzar was 2-winged swift, but Alexander was 4-winged swift. This adds to the picture of the speed which characterized the military conquest of Alexander the Great. 4 heads. When Alexander the Great died as an alcoholic at age 33 years, Daniel 8 and 8, his kingdom was divided between the 4 generals. Right? As one might imagine, the higher critics and liberal scholars take great umbrage at the conservative interpretation, for otherwise they would be forced to acknowledge that Daniel's prophecy was amazingly supernaturally accurate. His vision occurring 200 years before it occurred. On reading the liberal pondering wanderings on the 4 heads, One is tempted to refer them and the other suspicious arguments or spacious arguments to the Almighty Eliyahu, of whom the words of whom Isaiah records. Declare and set forth your case indeed. Let them consult together. Who has announcement this from of old? Who announced this from old? Who has long since declared it? It is not I, Yahweh, and there is no other Eliyahu beside me. Let me go over this again so you can understand. Declare and set forth your case indeed. Let them consult together. Who has announced this from of old? Who has long since declared it? It is not I, Yahweh, and there is no other God besides me. A righteous Eliyahu and a Savior, there is none except me. Now when one accepts the truth that Eliyahu is the supreme, supernatural sovereign who can not only declare but bring forth what he declares, they are in a humble spiritual position to hear his call in the next verse, which brought truth to me and be saved all the ends of the earth. For I, Eliyahu, and I am Eliyahu, and there is no other. Isaiah 45, 21, 22, Isaiah 42, 9, 44, and 7, 46, 9, and 10. This is why I said to people, why, they keep, denying the Eliyahu of Israel, the Eliyahu of the Bible, who they continually research and read for themselves. No other book is accurate like this Bible, this historical book that speak of me, my people in Israel who were taken into slavery. You understand? But again, because of the ways of Israel, in Israel, they are going to be destroyed because they will not leave their religion, they will not leave their idol god and celebrities and their pagan feast days that is given to them by Shaitan. Dominion was given to it. This is the only fact stated about this kingdom. Clearly it was the sovereign Eliyahu who gave Alexander the Great the dominion over the broad expanse that he conquered as he had to all the previous kingdoms. The same event is repeated in Daniy'El 8. Then the male goat magnified himself exceedingly, but as soon as he was mighty, the large horn was broken, and in its place there came up 4 conspicuous horns toward the 4 winds of heaven. Book of Daniel repeatedly emphasized Eliyahu's sovereignty over nations. This sentence is by the decree of the angelic watchers, and the decision is a command of the holy ones, in order that the living may know that the Most High is ruler over the realms of mankind, and bestows it on whom he wishes, and sets over it the lowest of men. Daniel 4 and 7 compares Cyrus the Great explanation of why he was great. Thus says Cyrus, king of Persia, Yahuwah, the Eliyahu of heaven, had given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he has appointed me to build him a house in Jerusalem, which is in Yahudah. Whoever there is among you of all his people, may Yahuwah his Eliyahu be with him, and let him go up. 2 Chronicles 36 to 2 Chronicles 36 and 23. So take a look at the screen. This map shows the Hellenistic world circa 300 BC. Alexander's empire is demarcated by the red lines. After Alexander died, the kingdom was eventually divided between 4 of his generals, who after the wars of the Diadochi gave rise to 4 kings. 4 kings: Ptolemy, Sopter, purple, south of Israel, right? Seleucus, Nicator, yellow, north of Israel, Syria. He eventually assumed the title of Basileus, king, and established the Seleucid Empire over the bulk of the territory which Alexander had conquered in Asia. Lysimachus, Orange, Thrace, and much of Asia Minor. Cassander, Green, Macedonia. the 4 kings, 4 generals, right? Latter of 2 division 3 and 4 are not discussed further in Daniel's prophecy, as geographically and politically they do not interact with Israel and the Huadines to the extent as the Seleucid dynasty, Antiochus the sixth, Ephesus, and the Ptolemaic dynasty. Both of these dynasties are described in much greater details in Daniel 4 vision and Daniel 11. Remember that Daniel 4 vision actually covers 3 chapters beginning in Daniel 10 and 1, extend to Daniel 12. Additional notes process the Diadochi, plural of Latin, Diadochius from Greek. Successors were the rival generals, families, and friends of Alexander the Great, who fought for control over his empire after his death in 323 BC. The War of Diadochi, the Wars of Alexander's successor, a series of conflicts fought between Alexander the Great's general over the rule of his vast empire after his death, marked the beginning of the Hellenistic period from the Mediterranean to the Indus River Valley. So I hope you get the understanding of Daniel 7, the beast metaphor and its prophecy. So on that note, Brook Yahuwah Tzibahot, Brook Yahuwah Mashiach, Shina, Vishna, bless the love and shalom.